Hello and welcome. This is Eagle Eye 621, and what you see behind me are some very peculiar looking blocks, some cursed images, if you will. Now, this is all 100% vanilla, but in the interest of not completely lagging out the video and making YouTube hate me and my computer hate me even more, going to turn on a resource pack. It's the guy that does a lot of my most recent thumbnails, so you should check him out in the description. But we are at the world border. We are now just going to load a whole lot faster. So what are we looking at? It appears we have a stair and a slab existing in the same place, two slabs in the same place, and some netherite gold and glass existing in the same place. And we can actually get a lot more cursed out than this. I'm going to show you a bunch of these different tricks to make some cursed videos here at the world border. Maybe a reason for you to think about journeying. And before I do that, why don't I make myself a little cursed safety box by putting these trapdoors just like this. And let's add some of these buttons here. And then why don't we give ourselves a top and a bottom. And you see we can't push them in on this side. But if I go over to this side, then magic. I'll explain how all that works as we go along. And now we can jump inside of our safety box, except the roof has now disappeared on us. So kind of a cursed safety box. So let's start out on this side right here. And you can tell that we are 2 blocks away from the world border. That's why I can't move over anymore or place anything there. And what's going to happen here, and I'll use some glass to make this nice and easy to show, is if we take some glass and we push it against the wall, and again, this is as far as the border is. You can't place anything or move here. There are some ways, but that's not this video. We put something else in there and give it a push. Well, now we have 2 blocks existing in the same place, but on the sides, if we try for a third one, you'll see it won't let us push this in. And in terms of if this is here, well, I broke that. You can hear me trying to break this. And if I were to bring some stone blocks down here, you can see through this glass block that, again, I can't get through. Can actually break something through there. So it's an interesting kind of ghost blocks. I'll have a different ghost block video for you in the iCards. But in terms of how many times you can do this, you can see that when you break the object, you can put one more in. And you can actually place an object inside of this now, which allows you to do some things with immovable objects. So if we take our ender chest, we can have a ender chest inside of a glass block, which is a very cursed image. It's not actually protected. You can right click on it. Don't have anything here because this is not my real world. And you can actually have a lot more fun, and you can do that just with some different objects, obviously. But there's more to this, obviously. We're going to get a little bit more cursed. But let's see what happens when we go a little bit closer. So here, you can see that we are exactly 1 block away from the world border. I can't place anything over there. I can't move there. So now we're going to be using a sticky piston. And let's use our glass block again. You can see something very odd looking is going to happen when we press this. Yeah. So it pushed it through, but didn't, and then it retracted, and then broke, and then was over here. And you can't break this. And now if we try to push something else through, you can see that we actually can't. So if we try and pull that back, also nothing. So that's with a sticky piston. If we change this now to a regular piston and move down a little bit, and again, let's use our glass again and try and push that through. Well, is it through? You can't see it on there, but it's not here anymore. It's through the wall, and you can't see it on the other side of the wall, which prevents you from being able to push anything else. But just like on that side, you can place things in here and nothing happens when you try and push it. So this is another way you can make your cursed images, but importantly, only two. Only two of them. And why don't we get some cobwebs for this one, because I have all these things in my inventory. Now you can have some perfectly preserved cobwebs that actually aren't super preserved if you try and break them. And just like on the other side, I can't fall through this, but if I were to grab myself a water bucket, then the game thinks there's something there and actually moves the water around it. So I can't fly through it, but I can break something under it, and the water goes around it. So go figure what kind of a strange ghost block this is. But I said we can get even more cursed, and that is why we are at the corner, because at the corner you can actually fit a third item in there. So why don't we get rid of this and get a stone cutter with a wall, and let's make it a blue. So the order here is actually important. So if I push the blue wall here on this side and the stone cutter on this side, if I push the stone cutter in first and then I press the glass in, and it doesn't matter the object, it just matters the order. Then you can see if I try and push a stone wall on this side, it doesn't work. But if I do it on this side, it does. And it's actually a lot simpler of a reason than you may be thinking in terms of orders. And that's just because the first object didn't actually push anything through a barrier wall. So if I just make my chain come up here, I can just place the object over there. And then let's go with a bottom slab and maybe a top iron trapdoor. And you can push one object in from either side to an object that is already there. And again, this is on the world border. You can see I can't move any further. And now it'll allow me to place them in just like that. And I like using these objects that don't take up the full block so that you can actually see what's going on. In fact, some of these fences are my favorite because they happen to be decently large enough, but also you can have a lot of space around them. And then we can use, let's say, an orange glass. Put the orange glass down and then push them both in. You can see we have some very strange, and we have some issues in terms of the actual color gradients here. So you'll see if I, instead of using the orange, if I use the plain glass and I do that exact same combo, where I put these in, and then I want to make sure that they're patterned like this. Now when I push them in, you don't have that issue of the other color disappearing. Just more very interesting, glitchy type blocks. You can do this with solid blocks, but the problem you have with solid blocks, like this gold and the diamond, and I'm going to push this side, which is actually just moving it to the corner. It's not actually pushing anything in. Is it's harder to see, and you get a lot more of that Z fighting until you move your mouse just right. And then if you grab another block, let's say this diamond, because why not? Double the diamonds, push that in. Well, now we have some very strange patterns, and if you move your mouse just right for a flash, you may be able to see all three of them. But because they're all trying to take up the full block, it is a lot harder to get that pattern and that angle just right. Now, there are some other things to know about this in terms of how to make them go away, but I will just show you one last one, maybe my favorite one, that involves both of these, and it involves using a fence. So everything is, trying to put that there, so everything is nice and easy to see. Makes for a very, very strange image. Now, if you mess up, so first of all, you're going to want to take your screenshots before you log off, because the game will understand that this is not supposed to be the way it is, and it'll revert most of it back to looking like just the one block. But if you screwed up, you may find an issue how are you supposed to push more blocks in, right? You can only do the one side. You can't do the other side when that's broken because you can only have one thing here. So if that didn't make any sense, let me show you what happens if I try and push two different blocks in. So you can see the one is open, but you can't push another one in. So you are stuck with whatever the two are in there already. And the answer you may think would be to grab a sticky piston and try and pull one back. But unfortunately, that's not going to work the way you want it to. But there is a way to fix it. And the way that you fix it is with some destruction. You need to use TNT in order to blow these up. And you're actually blowing up the items on the other side of the wall as well. And by wall, I mean world border. So now there is enough space that you can actually add your images back and choose what you want. And this time, let's go with a chain and a birch trapdoor and some blue. Let's go with blue. A blue glass. So we can put our blue glass just like that. And for our chain, let's make it stand up. And then a top trapdoor. And let's push everything in. And you can see that we are able to make a new image because we've explodified the other things around it. And if we want to do that again, then we just need some more destruction. And maybe this is a nice reason for you to venture off to your world border and have a little bit of fun making all different kinds of cursed images. Now, in terms of some credits, I did see a recent Reddit Minecraft post that appears to be deleted, but this goes back a lot further than that. The first person I saw playing around at the edges and the world borders to make these strange blocks is RayzWorks, and I'll have a link to that video in the description. So if you found this interesting, I would appreciate a like, maybe even comment down below in terms of what was your favorite, and if you're going to go out and do that. If you found it interesting, consider telling one of your favorite Minecraft YouTubers to see if you can convince them to travel out a very long way in their world, but depending on the version, there may be some exploits for them to get out there faster. And for more videos just like this, and actually probably not just like this, but videos like this, do be sure to subscribe and hit that notification to turn on all of those notifications. And if you're even more interested, I do have a join button, which will allow you to support me in my work down below as well with some additional perks.